Hi, I'm Joan. Some of you have seen my little book and asked me how I went about making it, so I'm going to share with you today how I made my little book here. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to create the pages. To create the pages, this is mixed media canson paper. The pad was 11 by 14, so this is a 14-inch length. I cut this on a paper cutter. Then I took this and I marked at 2-inch increments. Then I scored it, and I like to make sure that I have it really well lined up. So you'll see where I have my markings. I have my ruler here, so I'm going to get a really good score on it. Then, after you do that, you're going to fold it. And I want to talk to you a little bit about folding these. On this very first one that I did here, I did not do a good job folding it. You can tell by looking at this, this is uneven, and it's not going to be good for the book. So, when you're folding it, you have a little bit of leeway to move things if they don't look like they're lined up. So, let's fold this one. Okay, that's looking like it's pretty well lined up, but you can always kind of adjust it a little bit if you need to. Now, after you have the pages done, I wanted a bigger book. So what I did is I taped it. So all you need to do is take some masking tape, tape it across here, and then you can have a larger book. Now, if you notice on the little book that I did, on some of these you'll see some decorative tapes. I like using decorative tapes, and that also adds extra reinforcement, because if you look in here you can see where I've put the masking tape on the back, and then we also have it here on the front. Now, a few words about doing the cover. You might want to do all your design work prior to putting it together, including doing the cover. Now, this cover is actually canvas. So I've taken the canvas and cut it once again on my paper cutter, and this is about 2 inches by a little bit over 5 inches. You'll cut that according to how big you make your book. I made this just a little bit bigger here. Actually, I've got this backwards here. A little bit bigger. Now, when I put this together, I want there to be extra reinforcement on the front and the back, because this paper is not very heavy. So what I do is I take Bristol paper, which is heavier. It's also by Canson, and I'll use Yes paste, and I'll paste it on there. Then I'll paste this on here, so that'll be the front of your book. And once we have this all together, we know how big the book is going to be. I do the same thing. I'll paste this on here and paste this on here. And of course we'll cut this off, and your book is done if you don't want to sew it in place. Now, that's up to you if you want to sew it in place. I did sew this one in place, and I started at the front and I started at the back side, and I knotted my thread, and I just used regular sewing thread, and I did a double thickness of the thread. And then I came through on this side, went through on this side to the back side, and I tried to use a thread that was so close in color that you really don't notice it that much. There would be another way to camouflage this. If you wanted to do more of a mixed media effect here, if you wanted to put collage on it or put fabric on it or something, you could sew the whole thing, not really be worried about what's going to show, and then do your artwork afterward. So that essentially is how this went together. One other thing, I'll mention about the back papers. The way I applied the paint is I used a brayer, and I would have a piece of wax paper, put really inexpensive craft paint on it, roll the brayer in it, and then just roll it across here to get my color. Because I personally like the look of it uneven. You can see here that there's some white showing through on there. So that's how I do that. So that very briefly is how I created this little book, and I hope you'll go ahead and make one for yourself. And I hope you'll be inspired.